just got some great news from Patrick in that he thinks he may have found the Tsalala Pride. We haven't seen them for about 4 or 5 months on Londolozi, and the Tsalala Pride hold quite a close place to our heart, as there's a long history of the Tsalala Pride and the tailless females, and these are the last 2 lionesses that are surviving from that initial pride that essentially started the Mungen Pride, who in turn started the Ntsevu Pride. And so there's a long lineage behind them. It's always difficult to identify lions, and we can't trust that until we get there ourselves, but we're on our way to go and make sure. Maybe the Tsalala Pride has made a return to Londolozi. So at first glance it definitely does look like the Tsalala Pride, but very difficult to tell out here in the field with some of these lions, especially the lionesses, unless they've got any distinctive features such as prominent scars, which there are a few on the Tsalala female's face. It does look like the mother and her daughter, and we just can't believe how much she's grown in the last few months that we haven't been seeing them. And this is amazing news that they've come back onto Londolozi. We definitely have missed them, and they've been across in the western sector of the Sabi Sands, and we've heard reports that they've been doing well over there. The fact that they've come back here, it's probably just a transient period where they're going to be moving through, just trying to avoid any other lions that are around. But with the Nkuhuma Pride coming onto the property in the north, the Ntsevu Pride and the Sub-adults breaking up in the south, it's very unlikely that they'll hang around for too long. The Tsalala Pride has got a fascinating history, and I mean it goes a long way back, with essentially them, the Tsalala Pride, starting off all of the lion prides that we can see on Londolozi. Without going into too much detail on that, just talking about this female, this was her very first litter she gave birth. Sadly, due to misfortune and old age, the rest of the Tsalala Pride was killed off or died, and so she was left by herself to raise a litter of cubs without any support or help from anyone else. And so she then had to adapt to a bit more of a secretive leopard-like lifestyle, where she spends a lot of time in the river. On top of that, she had 2 of her cubs killed off by a young male leopard in Mala Mala, and so then only had the one left, who was a daughter. And so we were very worried that she wouldn't be able to raise her successfully, but this has just proved everyone wrong, and now the 2 of them will hopefully boost that pride again. We know that at least the mother has been mating with one of the males in the western sector. The daughter is just coming to the age where she'll probably start looking to mate. And so hopefully with both of them having cubs in the near future, we can then see the Tsalala Pride boosted. Maybe they've come across here to try and seek out the Avoca males and the Birmingham males to essentially then mate with, to help ensure that there's that added security from the males when she does eventually give birth. and then after that sauntered off beyond from where we can see them. So we're going to leave them. It's just great to have them back around here. It's too difficult to follow them in there, but at least we know they're around, and we'll try and come out and look for them as much as possible in the next few days while they're still here. So we just arrived out at one of the water holes close to camp, and we've managed to find what looks like the Ntsevu Sub-adults. They're all lying up in the shade here. Bellies look relatively full, and we know that they weren't seen too far from here last night. It's amazing to see how quickly these lines are growing, and I'm sure it's just a matter of time before they branch off in their own little coalition of these young males and cruise around looking for a vacant territory, or essentially just buying out a bit of time until they get bigger and stronger and are able to then challenge for a territory. So in the heat of today, it doesn't look like they're going to be doing too much more, so we're going to head back to camp before things get a bit too hot for us. We're sitting with the Ntsevu female this morning, lying just on a small termite mound behind us there, and there is a kill stashed under one of these bushes just behind us here as well. The cubs are around. The second one, we did have very brief view of it moving through grass this side, so they are all around here. It's a cool cloudy day, so she's happy to have the kill stashed on the ground, but I'm sure at some point, either during the course of today, after they've fed a little bit and lightened the load, she'll try and hoist it into a tree. There's not too many sort of good choices right here, but there is a nice big scotia tree just behind us where she'll probably try and take it into that, keeping it safe from the hyenas as they'll start to move around towards the end of the day. So we've come back out to the Ntsevu female and her two cubs, and like expected, she's dragged the kill across to that big scotia and hoisted it up in there. One of the cubs is lying on a pretty epic dead ivory tree, and the second cub is exactly where we left it this morning, in that cassia in amongst the yellow flowers, which is pretty stunning. This is quite interesting to see where she is. She's quite far sort of south in her territory. We don't see her this side too often, and the Senegal bushmale was seen not too far behind us there with his own kill a bit earlier this morning, and we don't know if he's mated with her in the past, so it's quite risky with her being here with her two cubs and the male being not too far away. She's very wary, she's got her head up, the wind is blowing from where the male is towards us here, so I'm sure she's probably aware of him being that side. Let's just hope that if he does come across here that the cubs are safe. Grateful that they've hoisted it up into the tree, because that's going to keep it safe from hyenas, and at least the cubs will then be able to feed on it as they please. It's getting dark now, so we're going to leave them and potentially come back through here in the morning and see if anything else has materialized. And sure enough, the Senegal bushmale has stolen yet another kill from a female. So he's up in the tree feeding currently, but his belly's looking full. He's probably going to come down shortly, and I'm sure he'll then move off and settle in the shade if the hyenas aren't too close. He's just come down out of the tree. If he walks off a bit further away, we're pretty sure that the Ntsevu female is going to come across and try and feed on the kill. So what's fascinating is that the Senegal bushmale has got his own kill not too far from here, so probably during the course of the evening he's heard or smelt them and come across and stolen this kill. But now that he's come down out of the tree, he's probably going to go back to his own kill. This is giving the Ntsevu female a chance to come back and feed on a little bit more. And so with him moving off, it's opened up an opportunity for the female to come back and feed on the kill. And hopefully her cubs will join her and feed throughout the day, but he's moved off. She's up there feeding with not too much more going to change anytime soon. So we'll leave them now and hopefully hear how it all pans out a bit later on.